ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
A call for help from local healthcare workers as ICU beds across the region fall to critically low levels. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt. Steve has the night off. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco has the growing concern for those on the front lines of the pandemic.
Intensive care units across San Diego County nearing capacity. Dr. Tom Laurie is the chief medical officer of Sharp Memorial Hospital. Sharp's 4 acute care hospitals have roughly 180 ICU beds. Right now, only 20 are available.
We're seeing 3 to 4 times the volume that we did probably in the initial surge. Now, fortunately, people are younger, so we're seeing a little bit fewer of those patients coming to the hospital, but nonetheless, it's beginning to overwhelm us.
Especially overwhelming for the nurses, doctors, and health professionals who have been treating COVID-19 patients every day for 9 months.
The big issue we're having right now is with nurses and with respiratory therapists. And then our physicians are really feeling the crunch.
Before they get stretched too thin, Sharp healthcare leaders are putting out a call for help.
We just want to ask any physicians who have the capacity, the capability, and the wherewithal to step into the fray and help our other frontline physicians.
Those frontline workers, his biggest concern.
Are we going to have the folks to take care of the people that need to be taken care of? And are they going to have the energy to continue like this for another few months?
Even as hospitals fill up, he says the models show shutting down for 3 weeks will go a long way.
We start to see the numbers come down within a few weeks. That's remarkable to me. And that gave me the most hope about what we can do.
ICU capacity for the Southern California region is down to around 10%. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
Dr. Laurie believes the numbers will peak around Christmas and then hopefully start to come down if people follow the stay-at-home orders. Today, the county reported another 1,200 cases, bringing our total to more than 95,000. We also learned 26 San Diegans died from the virus over the weekend, that total now growing to 1,088. Coronado Unified is the latest school district to go back to virtual learning. The district says there are no outbreaks on campus, but now it's worried that rising cases in the community could affect the school population. Meantime, LA County expects to get its first allocation of COVID-19 vaccine as early as next week. The plan will be to rapidly deploy the 84,000 doses to healthcare workers on the front lines. More shipments are expected later this month. No word yet when San Diego County will start getting the vaccine. You may have been startled earlier today when the state sent an emergency alert to phones throughout Southern California. It stated that people needed to stay at home except for essential activity. The alert was meant to remind everyone the new stay-at-home order is now in effect. And a South Bay great-grandfather who drove for Lyft 7 days a week has lost his battle with COVID. ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen explains why his wife doesn't yet know.
George Torres first started feeling sick in early November.
He had a headache, he had diarrhea, and shortness of breath.
Daughter Rachel Cedillo says his symptoms got worse, and in mid-November,
It sounded like he was running a marathon.
George was taken to the ER, tested positive for COVID-19, and placed on a ventilator a day later. Several days later, his wife of 49 years, Alma, came down with her own symptoms. By the end of the month,
That was hard.
both of her parents were on a ventilator. On December 3rd, George Torres, a grandfather of 9 and a great-grandfather, passed away at the age of 67.
Oddly enough, I felt panic. All I could do was just cry.
Cedillo says her father,
Most friendliest man, greatest man to talk to about anything.
was always joking and laughing. He worked as a part-time handyman and Lyft driver 7 days a week. Cedillo isn't sure how her father contracted the virus, but says he was diligent about masks for himself and his passengers.
If they refused, he refused to give them a ride.
As COVID cases continue to grow, Cedillo's making this urgent appeal.
Please, please be careful, be responsible, and just wear a mask.
As for Cedillos' mother, Cedillos says she's performed well on recent breathing tests and is hopeful she'll recover. Alma does not yet know her husband has passed.
It's extremely painful at this point. We are going to have to tell her once she wakes up.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
Stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store. The red flag warning in parts of the county will expire in 3 hours. Meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us now live. Angelica, the fire danger not over.
That's right, Kim. And even after the red flag ends, we're expecting the conditions to still be prime overnight and into tomorrow. So let's break it all down. A red flag warning will be in effect until 10 p.m., including our valleys, our foothills, and mountains. So the same areas that have seen gusty winds, they will stay dry and gusty overnight. Right now, you can see relative humidity is down to 14% from Ramona to Alpine. It is primarily the dry conditions that are really making this a critical fire event. As far as the winds, we already got through the strongest winds with this event, and it will get better starting tomorrow. But in the meantime, we still have to monitor conditions, be of course, very cautious, preventing anything that could potentially start a fire. And today was also a mild day. We broke records, tied records. Coming up in our 7-day forecast, I'll show you which areas saw some pretty warm weather today.
We'll check back in. Thank you, Angelica. You may have noticed some ominous-looking dark skies today in parts of the county. It's from a 10,000-acre fire burning 15 miles south of the border in Tecate. It poses no threat to the U.S. here on our side, but the smoke can be seen as far north as Oceanside and Vista. And crews have a handle on a much smaller fire that burned on both sides of the border. The 10-acre fire on Otay Mountain includes 2 acres on the U.S. side. CAL FIRE says it has stopped the fire's progress. No structures were threatened. We have an ABC 10 News follow-up on the massive fraud involving unemployment claims made in the name of California prison inmates. And our ABC 10 News anchor Lindsay Pena looks at the local prisoners linked to the scam and may have cost the state upwards of $1 billion.
Donovan State Prison. It's one of the locations District Attorney Summer Stephan's office says was involved in a massive pandemic unemployment fraud scheme.
We're unraveling really an unprecedented level of fraud that we've never seen before at this scale.
Stephan estimates that prisoners and their accomplices at Donovan were able to cheat the state out of as much as $5 million.
That they're working with a few people on the outside, organized crime, fraudsters, and gangs and organized gangs on the street to funnel this money both ways.
The investigation here in San Diego is part of a larger one statewide and includes high-profile prisoners like Scott Peterson and Carrie Stainer and more than 100 inmates on death row. Bank of America, which distributes payments for the Employment Development Department, estimates the fraudulent activity connected to prisoners could total roughly $2 billion. Stephan is calling on Governor Newsom to provide emergency funding and other resources to help in the investigation.
We're having to divert huge resources to bring forensic accountants, to bring information sharing, to bring all sorts of investigative tools to unravel this large-scale fraud.
In the meantime, Stephan says immediate action should be taken to prevent further fraud.
We must implement cross-matching. That's a system where before a check is sent out, it cross-matches against the list of prisoners that we know that the California Department of Corrections has their name.
Lindsay Pena, ABC 10 News.
Bank of America says it froze the accounts suspected of fraudulent activity. It's not clear if the stolen money can be recovered. And new at 7 o'clock, another one of those mysterious metallic monoliths has popped up, this time right here in San Diego County. The monolith appeared today at the Scripps Ranch Marketplace Shopping Center on Scripps Poway Parkway. As word spread, it blew up on social media and people started coming out to take pictures of it. No word who put it there. Other monoliths have also popped up in places including Utah, San Luis Obispo, Romania, Britain, and the Netherlands. They usually disappear in a matter of days.